Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live on Wednesday. We'll have one more week on Wednesday and then we'll go back to Tuesday after next week. Well, welcome to everyone. Tonight we're looking forward to a great time of fellowship with you and hopefully a time of learning with each other. And I know I can learn from you and you can learn from me. So if you have anything, be sure and put it in the chat. Let me know if you have any comments about what we talk about tonight or any comments at all. We would love to hear from you. And if you're watching on YouTube, please go to the like and the subscribe button and click on them. It will help us in the future with YouTube. So, the question tonight is, who do you know? Who do you know? It's very important who you know. Whatever you're doing, whatever you want to do, whatever your dreams are, you have to know the right people, get acquainted with influencers. Excuse me. You need to get acquainted with the influencers in the field that you're looking to break into or looking to pursue a career in. Influencers can help you immensely. In every field and every community, we're in politics, plant management, CEOs, just working in a plant, whether or not you're working for the city, doesn't matter. You need to get acquainted and make good friends with the influencers in there. So it's very important who you know. The most important person you can know, of course, in my opinion, is God. Because He can help you. He can give you wisdom. He can give you guidance. He can give you knowledge. And He can give you understanding. And He can help you overcome obstacles. And most of the time I thank God for adversity, because adversity is what makes us grow and learn, and it stretches us and makes us better. So don't run away from adversity. Don't think you want everything comfortable all the time and everything going your way all the time. If you've ever did pull rope, where you get on tug of war, where you get on each side of the rope, you have two teams and you pull against the other to see who's strongest, the best, has the best techniques. If you all get on one side, there's no resistance, and it doesn't teach you anything, and it doesn't build you up. So, adversity and competition is good. So let's get going tonight. We've been talking about homelessness and what home is, and so tonight we're going to somewhat continue in that theme, because we want to get into dysfunctional families and how families get there and what happens. Now, we want to start talking about, hypothetically, two young people. I don't know, we'll say they're 13 years old, 12, 13 years old, a boy and a girl. They meet at school, they meet at the playground, wherever they might meet, and they, quote, what we call fall in love with each other and totally infatuated with each other, and they cannot stand to be apart. In our day, we had to call on the phone or pass notes in school. So I'm old, aren't I? And the teacher, if they caught you passing a note, they would take it away from you and read it to the class, and that could be somewhat embarrassing. Also, the girls carried around what they called, we called it kissing license. And if you could snatch their kissing license and read it, then you got a kiss for every time you read the kissing license. So none of you have probably ever done that, but that's what we did when I was young, which was ages ago when I was young. But nowadays, what we have iPhones, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have all the social medias that we can communicate with, and I don't know how many of y'all use email and also messaging, that you can communicate back and forth to each other and talk to each other 24/7 almost. So we have all that communication. But say there's these two young people met when they were 12, 13 years old and supposedly fell in love. And so at that point in your life, you need somewhat to have an idea of what you want to be. And you need to develop a strategy. If you are a person that loves horses and you are dating a person that hates horses, and that person loves to go fishing, and you hate to go fishing, but you think you are so madly in love that it will overcome, your love will overcome that disunity in your relationship. But it may for a while, for 3, 5, 6, 7 years, but eventually, if you love horses, you're going to want to be around horses, and your significant other, partner, wife, spouse, husband may not want to be around horses. Vice versa, fishing. They may not want to go fishing. They may hate the outdoors. So, we look at that. So you have to have some compatibility with each other. You have to have some kind of plan to work together to blend your gifts. I don't know what talents each of you have, whether you're good at flying airplanes, whether you're good at drawing artistic things, whether you're good at music, either singing or playing music. You love to be around musicians, that you're good with animals, that you're good with mechanics, working on cars, those type of things, and you're good with math, or you're good with science, or you're good with a multiplicity of things that you can be good at, and that is your gift. Some people have multitudes of gifts. I know I have some friends that are so super talented that they have a lot of gifts. I have maybe one gift if I'm lucky. But anyway, people that have a lot of gifts doesn't make them better than people that have one gift, because it just doesn't. There's a story in the Bible about a person, actually 3 people, that the master of the house, the owner, the CEO, had to go traveling for an extended period of time. So he took the 3 employees he had that worked for him and managed his property and his businesses for him, and he gave one of them 5 talents. 5 talents is, I think, 1 talent is about a year's wages. He gave another one 2 talents. He gave another one 1 talent. So the one that had 5 talents went out and invested and used that talent he had that his employer had given him when he was going away on this extended trip. And he took those 5 talents and worked diligently and developed more talents. So he doubled his talent field. If he could read well, he learned to read better. If he could read well, he learned to write books. It's one thing to be able to read. It's another thing to be able to be an author, not like me, but author, and write books. Maybe he also learned to write plays and became a person that could write movie scripts and do those type of scripts. Maybe he was a musician, but he had a talent in music, and so he learned to play more than one instrument. And then he learned to direct an orchestra. So you can take basic talents and use them to do bigger and better things with your talents and develop them into greater things. So if you're a farmer, I know a guy back in the day that when Johnson & Johnson first opened in German, Texas, that this man was a farmer. And he went to work for Johnson & Johnson. He did not have any formal education in engineering or anything like that, but he went to work for them, and he was very mechanically inclined, very smart, and he developed and designed several machines for Johnson & Johnson, and they received patents on them. So he went from taking his skill and talents as a farmer, which he worked on machines, and he learned to, when he was a farmer, he had to fix things. So he learned how to fix things that was broken, and how to think things through and analyze things, develop strategies, and learned about metal and all kind of different things that you build machineries out of, rubber and all those things. He learned about all that and studied that, and he developed from being a farmer and just a few talents to a multi-talented person that was smarter than most engineers. So the talents that you have are God-given. God give them to you. And he expects you to take those talents and develop them and create and understand and develop greater talents and greater abilities as you grow. Now, a lot of people are very shy and say they're talented in speech making. There was a guy, if you've ever heard anybody on the radio, a lot of people have great radio voices. Other people do not. So if they're on the radio, their voice doesn't fit well with that particular medium. But if you have a talent and a voice that is good, which we call a radio voice, you can take that voice and develop it into another talent and increase your ability to gain wealth, to gain fame, whatever. There was a guy several years ago, he was on the streets of New York, and this guy was walking down the street, and he heard this homeless man talking, and he went over to him, and he said, "You have the greatest radio voice I've ever heard." He said, "If you're willing to let me help you, I can get you a career in radio easily." So the man said, "I will let you help me," and he did. And he became very influential, I can't remember his name, and developed, had his own show, and became very wealthy because of one talent, not 20, not 5, one talent. A radio voice, a great voice. Other people have voices that they can sing. There's a lot of people that can sing, but they have to take that talent and develop it and market it. So you can't just be able to sing and think you are going to make it. You have to develop that one talent into other talents. Okay? So, let's get to the subject tonight. We have a photo on the screen of a young man, young lady, and a baby. And we're talking about 13 and 14-year-olds, right? We're talking about your life. So, if you're 13 or 14-year-old in school and for whatever reason you come from a dysfunctional family and you were sexually abused, maybe you come from a great family. So you have these talents, but because of your emotional pain, you start taking drugs. And your significant other starts using with you. So you become just drugged out, as I would call it. You don't think clearly. Your grades go downhill. There's a young man that I worked with a few years ago, and when he was in the 9th grade in high school, he was a great football player. He was also a very smart student. He was making A pluses. That was in the 9th grade. Okay, we're talking about 2 young people. So as the story progresses, in the summer between the 9th and 10th grade, he got involved with people that did not have his best interest in mind. And he began experimenting with substance, street drugs. So in his sophomore year, his grades went from A pluses to B pluses and a couple of C's. The reason I know this is because I had his high school transcript because I needed to get him some identification. So we see that this happens. So wherever you're at, what I want you to see is the beginning of dysfunction. And a lot of young people that are 13 and 14 start experimenting with drugs, start using drugs, start doing and making the wrong decisions, start hanging out with people that do not have their best interests in mind, and their life starts to go downhill. And then maybe they start experimenting with sex, okay? And being 13 and 14, a lot of people older than that do not have any sense. And they're together, the young girl gets pregnant. They're 13 years old, okay? And they're just, in the 8th and 9th and 10th grade. So they have this child. The young man needs to go to work and take care of his significant other and his child. Now, this child is a gift. You can see this child is a gift from God. God has given you to it, and at 13 and 14, you're not mature enough to really understand the ins and outs of raising a family. So there you are together unless your parents help you and help you get through school, help you take care of your child, help you and teach you how to take care of a child, and help raise the child so that the child will understand the different things, okay? So here's this newborn child. Isn't it beautiful? So innocent. God's in it here. God spoke into this child's life as a soul and sent that soul here with talents and with gifts and with abilities. But it is up to the parents to nurture this child and take this child's gifts and talents and nurture them in the way that God wants it to be. If they are interested in music, it's up to you to develop that music gift within that child. It's up to you to do that as parents. That's your job, okay? Now, most of us, if I knew about parenting what I know now when I was 19 and 20, I think our first child was born when I was 21. If I knew now what I knew then and understood, I could have helped my children develop a better life. Not that they're not great kids, but I could have helped them with the gifts and talents, and they could have learned to develop more. The Bible said, God said, to raise our children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. That doesn't necessarily mean just taking them to church and talking to them about God all the time. That means helping them understand what their gifts and talents and their interests are and help them develop that and don't discourage them. I didn't get to play football in high school because we went to church all the time. I have no resentments about that, but I did not get to do that. So when my firstborn came along, young boy, and grew up, my whole interest was to get him that I could live through him and he could play sports. So I kind of pushed him in that area. I helped coach the small teams, okay, boys clubs teams for both of my boys, okay? And I tried to live vicariously through them in that. Instead of looking at what they might want to do, I looked at what I wanted to do. And so that's not a good idea. There's nothing wrong with helping your children in sports and them playing sports, and it's a good thing, especially in school, keeps them occupied, but also maybe they're talented and maybe they'd be better off in the band. Whatever it may be, God has given that child gifts and talents and given that child to you, parents, given it to you to develop and nurture it and love it. Not bring harm to it, but love it. Whatever you got to do, whatever sacrifices you got to make. So that's all for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We will continue next week with the nurturing and the gifts and talents that God has not only given the child, the baby, but also you. How do you develop your talents to help develop the child's talents? God bless you. Have a wonderful day. We will see you next week. Okay? It's time to go. We'll see you next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. I look forward to meeting with you again. Send me some comments. Go on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to our button and to our YouTube channel. It's under Arthur Horn if you hadn't watched this live. And like it. God bless you.